Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. You know, every single year, around October, the same conversation pops up all over India. The Nobel Prizes get announced. We all get excited about the amazing science, but then it hits us. We start asking that one tough question, a question that's been hanging in the air for almost 100 years now. So today, we're going to get right into it. India's long wait for a homegrown science Nobel laureate.
So, here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll set the stage with this whole century-long wait. Then, we'll try to figure out why this is happening. Diagnose the drought, you could say. We'll also look back at India's amazing journey in science, see how we compare globally, and then map out a path to a Nobel future. And finally, we'll ask, why does this all matter so much anyway?
All right, let's dive right in. To really get to the heart of this, we need to understand what kicks off this whole national debate year after year. Just imagine it's October 2025. The news breaks, the Nobel Prize in Physics has been awarded for some mind-blowing work in quantum mechanics. It's a huge moment for science, right? But back here in India, that news brings up this mixed feeling. We're proud of human achievement, for sure, but there's also that nagging question that just won't go away.
And here it is. This is the big one. Why is it that since 1930, not a single scientist working inside an Indian institution has won a Nobel in the sciences? Think about it. Sir C.V. Raman got his in 1930 for work he did right here in Calcutta, an incredible achievement. But that was nearly a century ago. Now, don't get me wrong, we've had brilliant winners of Indian origin. But the key thing here is the work wasn't done in India. And that massive gap? Well, that's what we're here to unpack.
So what exactly is this prize we're all so obsessed with? Look, it's not just some fancy award. The Nobel is basically the Olympics of the mind. Alfred Nobel wanted it to go to people whose discoveries gave the greatest benefit to humanity. We're talking about things like the discovery of X-rays, understanding the structure of DNA, stuff that has completely changed the world we live in. That's the league we're talking about. It's the ultimate recognition.
Okay, so we've set the scene. Now it's time to put on our detective hats. Let's start peeling back the layers and really investigate the reasons behind this long Nobel drought. The first and biggest clue, the one everyone talks about, is this number right here, 0.64%. What is it? It's what India spends on research and development, R&D, as a percentage of our GDP. It looks like a tiny number, but trust me, this tiny number tells a massive story.
And this chart, wow, it just lays it all out, doesn't it? Our 0.64% is sitting right next to the USA, which is pouring in 3.4% of its huge economy. And then you have South Korea, a country that basically willed itself into becoming a tech giant. They're at an incredible 4.8%. It's not just a small difference, Yar. We're not even playing in the same league. This number translates into real-world problems. Fewer modern labs, lower salaries that can't attract top talent, and less money for groundbreaking experiments.
And hey, it's not just us saying this. Even the top minds in the world have taken notice. This is what David Gross, a Nobel laureate himself, said back in 2023. And it just hits you, right? He sees the enormous talent here. He knows we have the brains, but he also sees that the environment, the whole system of funding and support, just isn't there for the kind of risky, fundamental research that actually wins Nobel Prizes.
But you know, it's never just about the money, nah? That's too easy. The problem is deeper. Imagine you're a scientist with a brilliant, world-changing idea. You're pumped, but then you have to wait 6, maybe 12 months just for the paperwork to get approved. The bureaucracy is a killer. On top of that, our academic system often prefers safe research, small, predictable steps. It doesn't encourage the big, crazy leaps that might fail, but might also change everything. And there's a huge push for applied research, stuff with immediate practical use, which is great, but it often comes at the cost of fundamental, curiosity-driven science, the very stuff Nobels are made of.
So what happens when you put all this together? You get the brain drain. Our brightest minds often have to leave to find a place where they can truly shine. Let's talk about Hargobind Khorana. He won the Nobel in 1968 for his work cracking the genetic code, basically figuring out the language of our DNA. This was foundational for all of modern biotechnology, a monumental achievement. And where was this work done? In the USA.
And then there's the legendary Subramanian Chandrasekhar. He came up with the Chandrasekhar limit, a fundamental theory about how stars evolve and die. It's a cornerstone of modern astrophysics. He won the Nobel for it in 1983. And again, where was this genius-level work done? At the University of Chicago, in the USA.
And even more recently, there's Venki Ramakrishnan.
He won the 2009 Nobel for mapping the ribosome, the tiny protein factory in our cells. This work is absolutely critical for developing new antibiotics, another game-changing discovery. And, you guessed it, the work was done in labs in the UK and the US. Khurana, Chandrasekhara, Ramakrishnan, you see the pattern? It's a painful, heartbreaking pattern of Indian talent achieving the highest honor somewhere else.
Okay, after all that, it's pretty easy to feel a bit discouraged. But hold on, let's zoom out a bit. Because this whole Nobel drought story doesn't mean India doesn't have a killer scientific legacy. Far from it. Let's just take a second to appreciate the incredible scientific journey of our nation.
Just look at this journey. It starts way back in the 5th century with Aryabhata giving the world the concept of zero. I mean, come on, that's the foundation of everything digital today. Then you jump to 1930 with C.V. Raman's Nobel. After independence, leaders like Nehru set up the IITs and CSIR labs, building the bedrock of modern Indian science. In the 60s, our scientists led the Green Revolution, making sure our country could feed itself. And of course, just last year in 2023, the sheer pride of watching Chandrayaan-3 nail that landing on the moon's south pole. So yeah, let's be very clear. Our scientific history is packed with genius and incredible triumphs.
So with all that history and pride in our hearts, let's come back to the present day. How do we actually measure up against the rest of the world right now? Let's look at the cold, hard numbers.
Let's start with a really stark comparison. The Nature Index tracks research published in the absolute best, most elite science journals in the world. Getting published here is a huge deal. In 2024, India had about 2,800 papers in these journals. In the same time, China had over 28,000. That's literally 10 times more. This isn't just about quantity. It's about making a mark in the places the Nobel Committee is definitely paying attention to.
Now, this table tells a fascinating, if slightly worrying story. Look at the total publications column for India, 177,000. That's actually pretty good. It's more than Germany or South Korea, so our scientists are definitely working hard in publishing. But then, look at the other columns. Our R&D spending is the lowest on the list, by a lot. It's like we're sending our athletes to the Olympics, but giving them a fraction of the budget for training and equipment. And then you see the last column, the Nobel wins, and it all clicks into place. The data shows we have the talent and the work ethic, but we are critically under-resourced, and that's reflected in the number of top-tier, game-changing breakthroughs.
Okay, so we've looked at the problem from all sides. We've seen the data. And yeah, it might seem a little bleak, but this isn't about feeling bad about the past. This is about fixing the future. So what do? How do we change this story?
Well, the good news is, experts have a pretty clear roadmap. Number one, obviously, is money. We have to boost that R&D funding to at least 3% of GDP, get ourselves into the same league as the big players. 2, we need to cut the red tape. Let scientists, not just bureaucrats, decide which projects get funded. 3, we need to actively fight the brain drain. Offer amazing grants and fellowships to convince our best talent to come back home. 4, and this might be the toughest one, we need to change the culture. We have to start celebrating bold ideas and not being afraid of failure. And finally, build the infrastructure. Imagine having 100 world-class research labs across the country open to all our scientists. That would be a game changer.
So for our final section, let's just step back and ask the big question. Why? Why all this fuss about one award? I mean, at the end of the day, it's just a medal, isn't it? Why does this quest for a Nobel actually matter so much?
Because here's the thing. The real prize isn't the medal itself. It's what a Nobel-winning country looks like. It's a country where that kind of cutting-edge research drives the economy. It's a country that finds its own solutions to huge problems like healthcare and climate change. Winning a Nobel boosts national pride and influence on the world stage like nothing else. But more than anything, it inspires. It makes millions of kids look up from their textbooks and dream of being a scientist. It creates that knowledge-based society we need to build a truly developed India, a Viksit Bharat. That is the real prize.
And so, we're left with this one final, powerful question. Will India's next Nobel laureate be someone who was taught in our schools, funded by our government, and did their prize-winning work in a lab right here, at home? The talent is here. The potential is massive. The path is clear, even if it's not easy.
But hey, before you head out, if you really want to get a grip on this topic, maybe for an exam or just because you're curious, we've got your back. Just click the link in the description to visit our website. We've put up detailed notes and a really cool quick revision mind map covering everything we talked about today. Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.